Welcome. Today we're going to take a look at the tank build. You will find the written guide on alcasthq.com/catalyst. So tanking is really not that easy, and I will try to explain you why. So on this build we will focus on a lot of ulti regen, and I will show you in a sec how we achieve this. Because as a tank it is just really important to support your group as much as possible, and we are a stamina DK, so we will even benefit more than other classes from it. Plus this is the pretty standard setup the tanks use in most trials. Anyway, let's get started. So first off, we are an Imperial. Because of the 12% max health and 10% max stamina, it's simply better to have more resources than any other stuff. But of course a Redguard or a Khajiit or like a Nord also works, don't worry. It's just the extra resources are really nice. Now, buff food, we're using tri-step buff food, health, magicka, stamina. We are using health, magicka and stamina potions, so the tri-step ones. You also could use those to give you more healing, but they're not really needed in most situations, so I recommend using this here. Then Mundus Stone, we're using the Atronach Mundus Stone. So when I activate the potion, you see I sit at like 1.4k magicka recovery, which is nice because we want to, we are using a few magicka skills, especially the Igneous Shield, which is important to support the group, to shield the group. And you want to use it a lot, so you need a nice magicka regen. Now, most tanks use aggressive Warhorn, so when I'm using that, my health sits at 31k, stamina 31k, magicka 18k. Now, this is really nice. If you're doing just wet dungeons, you don't need that much health, okay? You can invest more points into stamina if you want to. You have to determine for yourself how much health is safe for you to not die. Now, next up, the gear. So what do we do to accelerate ulti regen? So first off, we are using Bloodspawn. Now, I don't have idle traits here, but if you check the chart, there is a few options you can have. So what I at the moment do is put the reinforced chest piece, heavy chest piece, because it gives the most armor. And then on the pants and on the head I use infused, and on the small pieces sturdy for extra blood reduction. Then you also want to make sure to use as much trisec glues, at least on the big pieces if possible, if you have those, to get the max out of the resources. Now, what are we using? So 2 Bloodspawn. So you see, first off it gives resistance, which is nice. I mean, it's not really needed because when I buff myself, I always, the cap is at 33.5k if I remember correctly. So if that procs, I'm close to that. Then the thing why we use it is because of the extra ulti. When you take damage, you have a 6% chance to generate 15 ultimate, and increases your physical spell resistance by 6k. So it has a 6-second cooldown, so it's really nice. Gives us extra ultimate. Then the next set we are using is Tava's Favor. Now this here is really nice. It gives health, it gives a magicka recovery and a stamina recovery. Yes, the stamina recovery is useless because we know while we block we don't regenerate stamina, but the magicka is really nice. Then the 5-piece bonus. When you dodge an attack, you receive the Blessing of Tava, generate 9 ultimate over 3 seconds. So basically most tanks use Shuffle these days because it's just really strong. 20% dodge chance from this skill, or elude, sorry. Now, that way, together with Heroic Slash, which gives us a minor heroism, granting you 1 ultimate every 1.5 seconds, we have a lot of ulti regeneration going, right? So we can get aggressive Warhorn really fast. Then what you can make sure is, at the moment I'm using 5 heavy, 2 medium, but if you want more resources you also can run 5 heavy, 1 medium, 1 light. It's really up to you. Then I'm using Alcast 5-piece, so now there is two really good sets, okay? Like if you're in a trial group, one tank should be wearing Alcast and the other tank should be wearing Ebon armor. So the whole group gets more health. Now, again, Alcast is really nice. It's also really nice for resource management, because to get the debuff on the boss we need to activate synergies, right? And the Undaunted command. Activating an ally synergy restores 4% of your max health, stamina, and magicka. If you have 511, it will be 6%. So every time I press a synergy, I get 1.4k health, 1k stamina, and like 700 magicka back. So that's a really nice tool of resource management, and that's why Alcast is really nice. Now, I have two Shadowplay enchantments, so reduce cost like of blocking. Here, and then I use one magicka recovery one. That's why my magicka recovery gets really high. If you feel like you don't have enough block cost reduction, you also could use free, right? You also could use free and just replace the magicka recovery. You need to play around a little bit with that. Then shield the same. So you either can use reinforced or infused, because it would, if you use infused, it would give you more resources. Now I use two Alcast weapons, so though like mine here, I don't have them in other trades, but if you look at the table, what you want to have is one weapon in infused and one weapon in defending, sorry. So why infused? So when you look at the enchantment, reduces target spell resist and physical resist by 1.6k. If you use infused, this gets almost 2k. And this enchantment, the Crush enchantment, buffs the whole group. It works for the whole group, so it's really, really nice. Again, you will find the best in slot stuff on my website. I simply don't have the right gear in the right trades at the moment. It's really difficult to get. So for most people it might be easier to get Ebon armor, because Alcast weapons are quite rare, I guess. You also could of course swap out like the monster set if you just want like 5 Alcast, 5 Tavas, but you don't have weapons. So that's it about the gear. Now, champion points. There is a few things you need to know, like most important, let's start with blue one. Put the 100 points into Blessed, because we are using a lot of Vigor to support our group, so you want to have as much healing as possible. Now, you could use, I mean, the other points are not that important because you're a tank. I just put 57 into Mighty to get like the extra weapon critical rating, so my Vigor crits more. And I put 30 into melee weapon expert because of riposte, so like when we block we deal small damage. Then here we have 70 hardy and 70 elemental defender, and 47 in heavy armor focus to get more physical resistance while wearing 5 or more heavy armor pieces. It's really like, there is also a few other things, like you want to have at least 30 points here, because you see like shield expert increases the armor of equipped shields by 75%. That's really nice, so you want to have at least 30 points in here. Play around a little bit. In my case, like, I find most important the blue one, like the extra healing, so you can support your group more. Then I also have 77 into Shadow Ward to reduce the cost of blocking. This is also really important. 40 Arcanist to get more magical recovery. Then you want to have at least 30 in here because synergizes, so every time we activate the synergy we get 2 ultimate. So it's really nice, we get ultimate, we get so much ultimates. Then I have 17 to Warlord because it reduces the stamina cost of skills. Now in terms of skills, so let's start with the front bar or main bar. So we have Pierce Armor here. This is basically your main taunt, like the melee taunt. This is important because it applies Major Fracture and Major Breach, reducing physical and spell resistance, so that's that's around 8 to 10% more damage for your people, really important. absorb magic. So this is slotted here because we can block 8% more damage and blocking is reduced by 8%. Plus, if you have a Magicka enemy, you could actually keep that up and it would heal you. You see, the next spell projectile casts at you and it heals you for 20% of your max health, so it's really nice. Then Igneous Shield, so this gives a major mending, which increases our healing down by 25%. Plus it gives us a shield. So when I press this, so you see, your own damage shield absorbs 100% additional damage. So when I use this, like, I get the 9k shield. So this can hit up to 6 people. So my bodies will get like 4.5k damage shield, which doesn't sound like it's a lot, but believe me, especially in trial situations, it helps a lot. That's also why our magic recovery is quite high, because we want to use this skill a lot. Just in difficult situations to shield our people. It's really important. And we can use it a lot. Then Vigor, again, this is our heal. I'm using Echoing Vigor because it has a 15 meter radius. Usually the tanks are a little bit further away from the group. So this really, I mean, look at the range. This really hits everyone in your group and it heals for a lot. So unbuffed, like it's 8k, and when I use the Major Mending it goes to 10k, really nice. Aggressive Horn, so this here buffs your whole group as well. Now it increases their critical strike damage and it gives you and your group max Magicka health and stamina. Now DKs have some really cool passives like Battle Roar. Now every time I activate the ultimate I get resources back. So that's also how you can manage your resources, right? If you're low on Magicka, maybe stamina or even health, you can use the horn. Bam, you have almost, like, you probably have almost full Magicka back. It's really, really nice. Where is, okay. Then let's just take a look at those here. So this is also important, like every time we activate the Orphan Hurt ability, we buff our group members with 5% extra weapon damage. That's, I mean, it's nice. And then, like, if you're in combat and like we use this here, and we've used this a lot, we get, you see the second text, you also gain free ultimate. Every time we activate this has 6-second cooldown, so we generate a lot of ultimate. Helping Hands, so every time we activate the Magicka ability in this tree, we restore 5% stamina, which is also nice. Now, next bar. In the fire, like I haven't, let me actually check. I think it's not morphed. So you have to decide for yourself which morph you want, the stamina morph or the Magicka morph. I prefer the stamina one because, I mean, I want the Magicka for the Igneous Shield, but if you think I don't need to shield my group so much because they're really pro and they don't die, then you could use the Magicka to save stamina. It's really up to you. That's the ranged taunt. Now Choking Talons, so this works nice on trash. It debuffs the enemy and they do 15% less damage. Really important. Unrelenting Grip, our, like, we can pull adds, at least the small ones, helpful. Then Volatile Armor, this gives us like physical and spell resistance. So now I sit at 23 and 22, I buff this, I'm at 28 and 28 more or less. It's also really important. And Elude. I'm not using Shuffle because it's not really helpful in PvE, but more in PvP, so I use Elude. So I have 2 extra medium armor pieces, right? So it increases the duration of the ability. It holds for 25 seconds. Then here we're using Magma Shell. In some situations you really need the Magma Shell to survive. It basically gives you God mode, plus it gives a huge shield. You see, when activated, nearby allies gain a damage shield for 100% of their max health for 9 seconds. So that's a huge shield going to up to 6 group members, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I think it's only 6. So that's basically the setup. Make sure to adjust some of the stuff. I mean, nobody's tanking the same, so it's really important that you adapt the build. And it's, I mean, I can show you what gear I use, champion points, skills, but in the end you still need to play on your own. You need to know when to taunt and how to position the ads. I can't show you the most important or difficult part. That's still on you. So this is basically it. Again, there is a lot of really good combinations. This is just the one that is quite standard because it generates a lot of ultimate. So we can support our group with a lot of aggressive horns, and like we get resources back faster, so we can use more Igneous Shield and Vigor. All that kind of stuff that matters just to support the group while you're tanking. Anyway, if you have any questions, ask me in the comment section below. Don't forget to hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching and have a nice day. Cheers.